Hello again. Another glorious day, and I think we've been extremely lucky during this lockdown, and that's let me get on with a few good jobs on the Prisma. Okay, so we left it last time just looking at the rear arch extension pieces underneath there all welded on. So what I've done just now is fit the arch itself with some clecos, and basically that's giving us a correct shape really that we're after. So that needs now to be bonded on there, and then basically once the bonding's all gone off, we can then have a look and do a little bit of filling on it and just see how it's all going to come together. But yeah, the basic shape there I'm very pleased with. It's good and rigid. Once it's bonded, it's going to be very firm indeed, and you can kind of just see underneath there how the metal arch formers work there and support that edge basically. So where this is bonded onto it, we've got a good firm edge there. So at least you know, when a car's being used, if it does anybody kind of lean against it, it's got a good firm edge there, and not just a flimsy fiberglass edge on it. So yeah, that's very good. So what we'll do is we'll get that bonded in place, and then we'll have a look at a bit later on having some filling on it. Great stuff. Okay, I've just given that a bit of going over with the soft pad, just to give it a bit of a key, so that when we put the adhesive on the back of the fiberglass panel, it's going to stick to it and not delaminate basically at a later time. Again, we've got etch primer on the shell anyway, so there's a good key there. It's not like the primer is going to just flake away off the bare metal, but I've purposely left it quite rough there, so it'll have a good key into it. So what we need to do now is we're going to put some adhesive on the back of the panel, and I'll put a bead along this edge as well, and then up on the front corner as well, and then we'll get the clecos back in place and we'll just bond the whole thing back in. But the first thing I need to do is just whip over it with some cellulose primer, and then at least that'll clear off any of the debris that's still on there now. So this is with the celly primer. It's just a little bit on the rag, you don't need a lot, just to clear off. Clean that edge off there as well. And again, it's a little bit snaggy, but that's good. You know, we want it to be gripping on the adhesive. We don't want it to be just, you know, super smooth and then it all just comes flaking off afterwards. I purposely haven't put any on the leading edge here, any paint on here. Because again, because it's quite new, and it just really wants the adhesive to get in there and get in amongst all of the cracks and everything like that as well. Okay, so I think now we're ready to get some adhesive on and get the panel in place. The other thing that you need to do is just give the edges of the fiberglass a wipe over, again with some cellulose thinners. That just cleans off all of the dust. It's good stuff. It just evaporates quickly, doesn't leave a residue, and it's just nice and ready for the adhesive to bond to. So we've basically got both parts clean now. We'll get some of the CT1 on there again, get the clecos in place, and then we can bond it on for its final fit-in. Okay, we've got the CT1 on the panel, and again, it's a good idea to put it on the panel rather than the car, because otherwise you don't know where it's going to contact. And this is a classic case, isn't it? Because you've got the blister on here. If we put loads down the bottom here, it may well just be in the cavity of where the wheel arch sticks out. So you've got to kind of anticipate where it's going to stick, and the best way of doing that is to get it on the panel and then just apply the panel to the car. So what we need to do now is just offer that off, get a cleco ready as well, and I can pop that actually through the panel. So I'll get that in the gun, ready to go. And we'll put that central one in there first, which is a good idea, and that's just right in the middle of everything. And then that will locate over where we've got to go to, get it in place, pop the panel down, release the Cleco there, and then we can just have a quick look and see where we are on the others. Get her straight. And again, they're great because everything just gets lined up automatically. You haven't got to mess around trying to find out where it all has to go after the event. So that's that one in that place. And then we can just work around the panel and pop them into their positions. We just give it a little push on, and that'll just assist the Cleco. And that's good because you can see the adhesive is just coming out the top edge of the panel there, and that's just what you want really, so you know that you've got good fill and you haven't got like a loose edge on it, which obviously might delaminate and crack at a later stage. And that's good there. Okay, so that's excellent. And we'll come down the bottom edge, put the Clecos through there into the former that we welded on before. And again, what I did is I had a look underneath and just double checked where it was touching and where it was best to put the Clecos in, that it was going to pull the arch to the correct shape. If you put them in the wrong place, you know, you might get a massive bow in or of the panel or something sticking out somewhere. So it's good just to have a quick look there as you do it and make sure that everything sits exactly where you want it to sit. And then if you just give the panel a press just where the adhesive is. Again, it's all going to help with getting it to stick exactly in the right place where we want it. Underneath. That's good. And the great thing with the CT1 as well is that if you get a cavity between your supporting edge and where the fiberglass panel is, that you can basically, it will fill that to a certain degree. Even if you press the panel tight together, when it pops back out again, there's still CT1 in between the two. So you haven't got a delaminated loose panel. There's a good degree of flexibility there to make the bond work. On the driver's side, we had the fuel flap, which I previously had welded up. I've just put a bit of filler on that, and I'm going to need to flatten that down a little bit. I have noticed that we've actually, when I've been welding it, there's just a little bit of distortion has occurred as well. So it just needs a bit of work on there with a bit of filler before we can bond the arch onto the metal formers that we've already put on. So that's the next stage really, and then we can look at doing the same as we did on the previous side and getting some adhesive onto the back of the panel and attaching it up with the Clecos. So we're all done today. We've managed to get the doors on and the arches both sides. They're going to be bonding for the next 24 hours or so, and then we can progress a bit more perhaps inside the car. We're going to be starting to get ready for fitting the roll cage, which is going to be a bit of a major job. I've also got to put some bars in for the seat supports, so a bit more to work to do inside there. But that, as I say, is for another day. Keep safe. Thanks for watching Otto's Garage.